But this is part 3 of the shed, Revit shed. We're going to just finish up some things here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag these things over, these views over a little bit, because we're going to add an additional view right here called a section view. To create that section view, I'm going to go into my floor plan. I'm going to go to the View tab, and you see this section view here. I'm going to click on that, and I'll create a section view. We'll do that down here just because we have enough room down here. I'm going to click out here, bring that in, and click here. Alright, it doesn't look like I did anything except for draw this part here, but if I go over to the left, I've got a new area called Sections. Hit the plus, I'll open this guy up. Here's what my building looks like so far, cut in half. We're going to change the scale to 1/2 inch equals a foot. We're going to change this. We change this here to be from coarse to fine, and we should see a lot more detail on this. I'm also going to drag this down a little bit because it seems to be way up at the top. Okay, so if we zoom in, you'll actually be able to see the siding, the plywood, our stud layer, and our gypsum layer on the inside. Same thing with the floor. We have our finished floor, our subfloor, and our joists here. On this particular project, we are not going to have a wood floor. We're going to change this to a concrete floor. So we'll see if we have one in here. I have a generic 12 inch. Let's go ahead and start looking at that as a base here. So we're going to open that up. So now it's concrete, but it's 12 inches thick. I'm going to edit the type, and we'll duplicate this, and we'll make a concrete 6-inch floor. Hit OK. Now I've got a new style here. Hit Edit, and I can change the thickness of this. We'll change it to concrete cast in place on my material, and we'll change the thickness here to 6 inches. Hit OK. So we'll hit the preview here, and that's what that should look like. We'll hit OK, and we'll see this get a lot thinner when we do that. And it also added the little chunks of concrete to make it look like it was cutting the concrete in half, which is useful. We're also going to change our wall. Right now this is our shed wall. We're going to change the thickness of this by hitting Edit. We're going to edit the structure. Right now this is 6 inches. We're going to drop this down to 4-inch thick wall and hit OK. And that should be the structure so far. Alright, we're going to add some labels here to label the different types of materials we have in our project. The labels are in the activity, so I'll pull that up, put this over to the left so that we can see both at the same time and see what we should be labeling. Okay. In order to label, we'll go to the Annotate tab. And before we start labeling, I just remembered I want to do this insulation. So for the roof, it should be 5.5, probably 7.5 inches. And I'll click this little middle part, and it'll automatically draw those little lines in there for us to make it look like insulation. And we'll do the same thing for the wall, which should be 3.5. And we'll come down here and draw that as well. So now it pretty much looks like the image. The next thing to do is click the text, and we are going to do a specific type of format. It is this double segment leader at the top left, this double segment right here. So we'll click that. And we'll just kind of copy what's over here. Click once, click again, pull that out, and we can type in bat insulation. And check off of it, and we can zoom out and we see that that's a little big for this, so we can modify it by clicking on it and then changing this down to 330 seconds. And that looks a lot nicer, and we can move this around up closer. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. We have to move this around, do a couple little different movements here. So now that we have that set up, it should go a lot faster. And actually, if we hit the text and we change this beforehand, that'll be a lot easier. In here in the middle, we've got 2 by 8 rafters at 24 inches on center is what the OC stands for. And then click off of there, and that does that. So you can go ahead and add all the rest of those. I'll pause it, and allow this to catch up, and I'll catch up to you. Alright, so I've added all those little labels. You want to make sure that these, to make this really neat, we want all these to line up with each other. So when I clicked once over here, clicked over here, kind of lined them up vertically, and then clicked, and then everything else kind of lines up, so that looks all nice and pretty. If I go back into my Revit shed sheet, we're ready to zoom out and pull that section in, and hopefully we can make this all fit together. Oh yeah, plenty of room. Okay, so there is my section. I'm going to zoom in on this, and we're going to add a little pitch icon on here by going in here. This is the, let's double check. This is where we can see the pitch, so this is the east elevation. Double click. And then we'll go to the detail line view. Right, and then we're going to add this slope by clicking this little triangle button here under dimension, spot slope. And we're going to change this from being an arrow to a triangle. And we can come over here and hover over that, and you can see that's the slope of our roof. Click on that once, and there's my elevation. I'm sorry, my slope of the roof identified. And we might need to pull this crop out just a little bit to make it line up. Go back into my sheet, and here is the finished shed drawing. And I'll show you how to turn that in the next video.